Chester, and every time I hear West Chester, I keep asking myself, where is East Chester? Well, West Chester is in Chester County, but Chester is not in Chester County. Chester is in Delaware County. And anytime I have to give directions to anybody who's coming from Europe or Japan, you know, from New York to Cheyney, I get them thoroughly confused. Chester is in Delaware County, but Delaware County is not in Delaware State, it's in the state of Pennsylvania. Well, West Chester recently celebrated 200th anniversary, and marching ahead of this 8-mile procession was its mayor. I'm not going to tell you how old he is, but when you watched him walk, he was almost dancing, like the Hutu warriors, you know, ahead of everybody. His name is, of course, Mr. de Baptiste, Clifford de Baptiste. It gives me great pleasure to ask Mr. Baptiste to come forward.
One thing about proclamation, you get the information, I got the information, yours sounds a lot like mine. First of all, I just want to say, isn't he great? I think he's great. This has been a fun day for me. I think this probably is insignificant, although I think mine's in a better frame than yours. But this has really been good. And when Janice got to speak, and she started talking about Elizabeth City. So that's where, you know, my wife was. She graduated from there. And you talk about pinochle. My wife taught me how to play pinochle. You know, I was real quiet, you know, almost quiet as Joan sitting over there. She was real quiet, but she taught me how to play pinochle through some of the, you know, the war years. And then she accused me of buying her first, you know, high heels, you know, and she said ever since then, she says all people from Elizabeth City have bad feet when they start wearing it. so Janet and Ruby, they all come from the same university, and then when they start talking about Dr. Ridley, but someone spoke about the many faces of, well, I had 2 dates with her. First date, I didn't recognize her. Second date, I couldn't find her. And we're probably sitting at the same table in the same room, you know. So we still have to have that dinner, you know. Depends whose credit card is working. but just a moment to talk about Dr. Ridley, because I'm the one that brought him into the area, sort of accidentally on purpose. I was just appointed a trustee down to the other university in Chester County. Over there.
The one which doesn't have a soul.
Yeah, thank you. And when I was appointed, I was concerned, interested, especially about tenured Afro-Americans. And I found none. No tenured Afro-Americans. And one was there 6 years, one was there for many, many years, but they didn't have tenure. So I said this was going to be my goal. And I had full support of my board because they had no idea what I was about to do. And I walked into the Chamber of Commerce office one day, and this fellow was standing up there, real tall, handsome man with a very diminutive, pretty white lady. And he said to me, he said, oh, so you're de Baptiste. And you know, I didn't know, I was set up almost. I didn't know I was going to be in the Chamber of Commerce office. He didn't know I was coming, but somebody said, well, I'll be there in about 10 minutes. And if you know Dr. Ridley, I mean, I think it was about 7.5 minutes was going, I just happened to walk in there. And he said, well, we're just going through here. We're going to New York, and then we're going back to Washington, and I'm going to take a job down in Washington. I heard you looking for somebody. And I said, that's fine. I said, I am. And he said, well, and I said, wait a minute, don't brush off like that. And I could see that, you know, when he said Washington, it didn't go too well with Mrs. Ridley. So I said, well, maybe this is the key. So I said, why don't you come home, and gentlemen will never do this again. Why don't you come have dinner with us? You know? So I brought these 3 people home to Inez, and she was having to cook my favorite meal, which it still is, just plain rice, nothing on it, and chicken wings. And here I'm bringing guests in that she didn't know was coming. You know? And so we went in, and because she was embarrassed. I wasn't, you know, but she was embarrassed, and she was. I paid for it, you know, later on. But then, you know, in fact, when we was on the way, he was saying, I was telling him my wife's maiden name, Manning. And he said, Manning? Well, that's, used to be a Manning there. In fact, she graduated top of her class. And I said, no, it wasn't my wife, because, you know, my wife wouldn't graduate top of the class. I knew she was bright and she was smart, you know, because she married me. But as soon as they saw each other, you know, I knew that, yeah, that's the woman. So I said to her later on, you know, we were married 20-some years at that time. I said, you never told me. And she said, well, yeah, I was valedictorian in my class. And I said, anything else? He said, well, valedictorian in my high school class, too. So he said to me, and she liked, I think she liked the atmosphere. I think she liked Inez. And I think Mrs. Ridley liked the chicken wings. And I think she liked the plain rice. And by the way, I had the chairman of the board. I was vice chairman of the board, but I had Charlie Spoke, who was my good buddy. And we said, well, let us show you the town. And she was concerned about, well, he was concerned about where to live. So we got in the car. Now it was getting dark. We drove out Lincoln Avenue. As we turned the corner, I was showing him Lincoln Avenue. And as the light hit that first house we turned, he said, stop. If you get me that house, I will come here. Yeah, how do you do this? The long story, make it short, we got that house. They moved here. He went to Westchester, head of the secondary education department, and retired from there. So that's what I know about Dr. Ridley. And of course, you know a lot of other things about him. But he turned out to be a great man. And then later on, he got back at me because I decided to work on my master's and went down to Lincoln. He was you know, had the class that I was in. So he got back at me. He was like probably, he was a Ruby Perkins probably in the other side of the fence. Well, the president asked me, got up here, and he read his proclamation. Maybe I better explain mine because I think the words may be the same. But see, this is the new bicentennial seal. So you're privileged to have that. I know you don't have that on yours. Paved, okay. And the new bicentennial seal is divided into 4 parts. We just adopted January the 1st. We changed the whole seal of the borough because I wanted this to be, you know, forever. And here we have the 1 quarter for education, which Pennsylvania certainly is a leader in education. The other is the wheat, which Pennsylvania still #1 GPN is agriculture, and 3 is the scales of justice, which is the county courthouse and the county seat, and then the other is a handshake of fellowship. So this is what the Borough of Westchester also stands for. I'm going to read part of it, and then one part I won't be able to read. But let's see. Did you start over past 30 years? Okay, I'll leave that out then. Okay. You talk about the Peace Corps? I'll leave that one out. How about the Alpha Kappa Mu Honor Society? We'll leave that out. Okay. Role model, getting it in now. Curator, etc. They give us all the same information. Okay. Now, maybe you didn't include this in yours. When asked how she feels about her time at Cheyney University,
Now you read that.
thank you. Ruby's response is invariably, "My tenure at Cheyney has been ennobling and empowering." Ruby, it is you who has empowered so many during your time at this fine institution. You are inspiration to us all, and your accomplishments instilled in each of those you have touched a desire to be a better person. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Clifford E.D. Baptiste, Mayor of the Borough of Westchester, Pennsylvania, proclaim Sunday, May the 2nd, 1999, as the Ruby L. Perkins in the Borough of Westchester, Pennsylvania. For these reasons, and for more reason, Ruby L. Perkins is truly deserving and is hereby awarded this key to the Borough of Westchester, Pennsylvania, as she has opened doors of knowledge and opportunity to so many, and shall remain ours always to remain open to her, and sign this day. One other thing, hope people ask me why they didn't eat today. I've been to 2 or 3 lunches today, I'm not even sure, and I've got to go a couple more. So consequently, Ruby, I'll have to give you that key privately sometime.
Where's the plot?
Oh, wait, let's get this out here. This is May Perkins. Okay? Get another hug. What is Channel 6 here? Thanks, good thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good friend. That's our best friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just learned that the most powerful or empowering strategy for a teacher is simply an example, good example. And that's what Ruby has been. In appreciation of this, her colleagues in the department, all of whom were listed on page 2 of the program, and to that you should add Ms. Mary Bowles. She administers our office and helps us, everyone. We, on behalf of all of us and the retirement committee, Dr. Linda Smith will now make a presentation to Dr. Dr. Velma Mitchell makes the presentation. Okay, Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell.
Dr. Perkins, will you please come forward? It is my distinct pleasure, on behalf of the Department of Communications and Modern Languages, to award this plaque to Dr. Ruby Perkins. She is a distinguished member of our department, and as usual, you usually have a person who raises the bar, and Dr. Perkins is that individual in our department. She has demonstrated leadership, integrity, hard work, and she is someone who lives by the golden rule. So on behalf of the department, it is my pleasure to present you this plaque, and it has a couple of symbols on it. The first symbol is a clock, and beneath that symbol is a photo of you. And the plaque reads, "Presented with gratitude to Dr. Ruby L. Perkins, in recognition and appreciation of 30 years of dedicated and distinguished service to the Department of Communications and Modern Languages, Cheyney University of Pennsylvania, May 2nd, 1999.
received a request for a 1-minute opportunity from Dr. Perkins' church to make a presentation. May I invite the fellowship?
Thank you, sir. You know, I just couldn't sit here and hear all these fine remarks without giving God the praise. Yes. And indeed, Ruby is a wonderful member. She was also on the trustee board of St. Paul's Baptist. And she is a beautiful person. And to God be the glory. Yes.
Now I invite Dr. Linda Smith to make her presentation on behalf of the faculty.
Will the other read please come forward? A warm welcome to each and everyone present. And it is with my pleasure, I will confess that this is one of the hardest tasks that I've ever had, trying to determine a gift for someone so very special. But with much pleasure, I wish you on behalf of everyone present, all the happiness and wealth, good health, peace, love, and joy.
Thank you very much. Do we go into a musical selection now? We pause for a musical selection at this point. Give us an introduction of the honoree this evening, Dr. Mitchell.
Some new things and new worlds that she brought into our lives, especially through the World Culture Center, its activities and good foods which she always prepared. Putting up exhibits into the wee hours of the morning, under the watchful eye of security. Dr. Perkins, security will miss you. Her modeling character and professionalism for the Cheyney family, faculty and students alike. Training her students to give back to the community by creating a Good of the Humanity Award. The opportunity to get to know her, to work with her, and for the 110% that she gave every day. For her scholarship and love of learning, which she exhibited by enrolling in the Adult Continuing Education program here at Cheyney U and receiving the degree, even after she had completed her doctoral work. Finally, we honor her because of her love for Cheyney University, her pride in being an alumni and a member of the Cheyney University family, and for our love for her. To know Dr. Perkins is to love her. So friends and family, I present to you our honoree, an interior decorator, a leader, a model citizen, a businesswoman, a thespian, a scholar, a world traveler, a curator, an educator, a teacher par excellence, who was named Ruby Lee Perkins by her mother, but who aptly calls herself Renaissance Ruby.
friends, friends, friends. My entrance at Cheyney University and my exit in many ways parallel each other. I first of all would like for everybody to know that I am grateful to God. Grateful to Almighty God. Because my entrance and my exit are both divinely appointed. I graduated at Howard University in 1968. I had no idea where I was going. I had not looked for a job because I wasn't sure I was going to graduate. And I know everybody get all mellow. This is a fun time. You know, I'm not serious in terms of you're sitting here thinking that. Try to attune yourself to Him. I'm not trying to convert you, and yet I am trying to convert you, so don't worry about it. But if you give up fighting so hard. But anyway, I sent out those letters, and I heard from Cheyney University, I heard from Wilberforce, and I heard from City College in New York. And this is the God's honest truth. I did not know about Cheyney University. And I was gratefully sorry when I realized that the history of the university. And then I looked at it, I said, well, I don't want to be at Wilberforce. They were the religious school and they were having money problems, and I didn't want to. New York is a good place to live in, but not to live in, but to travel and visit. So I don't want to go to New York. So I came to Cheyney. I did not know the history of Cheyney. I did not know that I knew anybody at Cheyney. When I came for the interview, to show you how life is and how mysterious life is, and people who don't believe in something other than what you can see, you need to change that. When I got here, the person who greeted me was the chairperson who had been my advisor at Elizabeth City State University, Dr. Cora Green Johnstone. Also here was the person who had been the business manager at Elizabeth City, Jeffries, Mr. Jeffries. We were scared to death of him, and I respect that man wherever he is buried to the highest. That he instilled fear in me. He's the person who helped me to cultivate a healthy respect for sarcasm, motivating people. Nowadays, people are not motivated by negatives and put downs. Put downs, negatives were good for people from the South who are over 50. That was my source of motivation. Poverty was a great motivator for me. And when people told me that I couldn't do, when people made me feel embarrassed about exposing some ignorance that I had, that was motivation for me. I have tried to use it with my students. It does not work anymore. I try to use it with my daughter. It does not work. But it was a great motivator. So Mr. Jeffries was here as the assistant business manager. That's the second person. Arthur Bagley, who was at Elizabeth City teaching when I was a student, was also here. Not only was he here, but his wife was in the vicinity, but she was not on the faculty at that time. His wife is Coretta Scott King's sister. They were here. Then Dr. Ridley, Walter Ridley, came soon thereafter. And Dr. Luther Burst, who was also a member of the faculty, came the same year that I came. So that was like family. And I sort of knew if I didn't get hired, something was wrong with that picture. So I'm saying that to let you know that divine intervention in your life, and also knowing somebody, some good politic, because I hadn't learned how to politic at the time, so it was just politic that I had nothing to do with. So it was divine intervention. But these were people here, so I knew somehow that I was supposed to be here. Coming across the ferry, I had never seen a place like this. I put my little red Mustang on the ferry somewhere over in Chester and came across on the ferry. To me, that was cultural shock. And I drove 3 miles looking for Cheyney, and I got all the way up to Cheyney Road, almost up here where the headstone is. And I said, where is this place? And I couldn't find it, so I turned around. I went all the way back to Chester and asked for direction. The guy said, you were just out there. So I kept saying, I'm supposed to be at this place. I'm here and I've been here for 31 years. I have not wanted to go anyplace, though I have tested the waters just to see if anybody else wanted me, if I had any marketable skills. But I have genuinely been happy, thrilled, and fulfilled at Cheyney University. It is good, ladies and gentlemen, to work at a place and do things that you like. I love it here at Cheyney. And the reason why I love it so much is because of the history. When I found out that Cheyney University, let's get the register, is the oldest historically black university, not university, but institution for higher learning. Now notice I didn't say, I changed that university business. It's the oldest historically black institution for higher learning in this country. Now Lincoln and Oberlin and all those other places in Wilberforce, they are something else. Now, don't argue with anybody about that. We are the highest institution for higher learning. This is the institution. Oh, it's 1937. When I found that out, I'm sorry. Those brain cells are dead. I didn't need to go. Yeah, they're dead. 1837. So I really was amazed because I thought anything worthwhile educationally was in the South. And my not knowing about this place, I had been robbed. So I felt a tremendous invasion of some sort that I had not known about this. And it just put a whole new flavor on my experience here. When I walk across the campus, I'm walking on historic soil. People died for these Cheneys, places like Cheyney. And I think of this may have been, and there's strong evidence that this was a holding station for slaves. It does me like nothing else in life. Nobody, my paycheck can't make me feel the way I feel. And to leave this place, it's like there's a horror for that reason, historically, because most of us have come about as close as we're going to come to any kind of fame and fortune. But you can, if you had any association with Cheyney, you can tell your children, your grandchildren. You can open up books and say, your great-grandmother worked at this place, worshipped at this place. We rented space at this place. Nobody else. I don't care if you graduated from Harvard University. To me, that doesn't equal what I can tell my child or what my grandchildren will be able to say. Money cannot pay for that. And I have stayed and tried to make a difference for that reason. Not because of the money. The money has been good, and the money has been good. We get paid well, very well. But I have had freedom, I have had family, I have had a sense of history, and I have had a sense of seeing God work in my life at this university. And my leaving is just the same. I have no idea what I'm going to do when I leave. I hadn't planned to retire. I was on my way back from spring break. I was on sabbatical, and I was on my way back from the break, Christmas break. And I was driving. Yoke and I were in the car driving on 90. And somehow or another, again, divine inspiration said, you have 29 years. There's an early retirement bill. You have taught 1 year someplace else. Even 29 years I have here in service because I took off 1.5 years to do my doctoral work, so that's why there's a little difference in the figures. So I drove with new zeal from about Syracuse, New York to and got home and checked my retirement forms, and surely enough, the last one said 28, and so I was due for my 29th one. I said, yeah, I got 20. I called out Mr. Spock, who handles the retirement for the state system. And I said, I think I have the time, and I want to make sure I can get out on the early retirement bill. And I was already out on sabbatical leave, and you signed that little stipulation saying you must come back and teach for another year. I said, oh God, I got a problem. So let me see if I can get in to talk with Dr. Pettis. And God laid it on his heart to be kind. He let me out of that part. So I'm saying all this to say that my leaving, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not worried about what I'm going to do. And I really, genuinely don't care about what I'm going to do. I have left it in the hands of the Lord. And I am confident that I will be placed wherever I can do the work that he wants me to do. So I'm flexible. And my child is learning to be flexible too. But before I leave, I would like to share a couple of things that I really have enjoyed here because of this university that I'm gratefully indebted to, and then I'm going to let you go. I want to thank everybody here. First of all, I want to thank the committee, the retirement committee, for allowing me to be a member of the committee. Everyone who knows me, you know it's hard, it's difficult to work with me. It's difficult to work with me. And I am grateful to them for their indulgence and for not just telling me to get lost and leave the committee alone. I thank you for that. This is the committee. Would you please stand, please, the retirement committee. A fine group of ladies. Fine. Very, very good. Some of them were here when I came. Dr. Glenda Smith, stand please, was here when I came, but she was not in the department. And then she went away and came back.
And go back.
And I thank you for that. Dr. Beatrice Johnson is a Cheyney alumna and would have been here before I came here, but she was in the public school system. Would you stand again? Let them see you, Dr. Beatrice Johnson. And Dr. Mitchell, I met at Howard. She has been my mentor. God knows if I could buy that woman's disposition, I would buy it. I take my retirement pension. I have been trying for more than 30 some years to be quiet. She is the epitome of cool, calm, exquisite. Yes, and I have been trying to do that. And there has been improvement, I must say. I'm still working on that. And Glenda Smith, who is, not Glenda Smith, but Linda Taylor is one of our young professors, hard worker, and Linda, I appreciate it so much, I do. And Teresita Fernandez Vinya.
You got it.
All of these are hard-working women, let me tell you. And I appreciate it, because they could have easily just left me out in the cold. And what we have tried to do, friends, is share 30 years of good times with you. And they pulled it off. And I thank them for that. I want to thank the faculty here. There are some members that I see that have been here almost as long. I'm wondering why they haven't taken advantage, why they don't join me. But I thank you all. The rest of the Cheyney family, would you please stand? Everybody who's a person here at Cheyney does something in capacity. Would you please stand? These are my relatives. I have a former student. Austin, would you please stand? And a business partner. My St. Paul's Baptist Church family, would you please stand, please? I thank you for supporting me. Do I have anybody else? And Eugene is my daughter's godfather. In substitution, he was my office mate. He didn't want to be my office mate when I first came. He said he was going to get some old, ugly woman. And he didn't want her. And I want to thank Dr. Proctor for when I came in the early 60s. One of the experiences I had was being given the opportunity to supervise the teachers and the interns in Sierra Leone who were a part of the Teacher Corps Peace Corps project. And Dr. Proctor must have had some confidence in me. He asked me if I wanted to go. Of course, I probably was not the person who should have gone, because at that time I was not the director of the graduate program. But Dr. Proctor, would you please, if he's still here, would you please stand? He's like, okay, well, I thank him for that, because it was he who asked me if I wanted to go. Do I want to go? Okay, and what else? Who else? Did I miss anybody? I don't want to miss anybody. And then my neighbors who are from Thorndale. Would you please stand over there, please, for me? Yes, thank you. Real quickly, I'm going to run through a list of things that I prize. I've said one. In 1970, again, I'm not going to do like the mayor did about Dr. Ridley, but it pays you to know people. I wasn't afraid of the man, Janice was. He called me up and asked me in 1970, no, he ordered me, more or less, to go to school, to go up to Temple and apply for, Temple had some federal money and they were looking for minorities. I don't know what we were called back then, but anyhow, he said go up there and apply for that position. So I applied and got a federal grant for to work on my doctorate, which meant I didn't have to pay, and that was good. So I took leave of absence and went away for a year and a half. And that was because of Dr. Ridley, and I'm again grateful to Cheyney for that. After that, the next thing I really am proud of is I met my ex-husband here. He was working as a part of the Cheyney family, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. I had no designs on, changing life and changing my life at that particular time. But I was approaching 40. I was 39, and I figured whenever I wanted to get married, a man would be available, and I would pick one. That wasn't to be found, and my years were slipping away, and I was listening to Janice and all these other people tell me how if I didn't go ahead and get married, and Joanne and all of them, that I was going to be lonesome, and I wouldn't have anybody take care of me, take me to the nursing home, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then my family was wondering what was my problem. I had 8 girls, and you're the only one that, what's your problem? So I saw an opportunity. I call it my midlife crisis. And my child is sitting there, lovely as she can be. She'll be 16 end of this month, Ilka Perkins House. And I thank God for her, and I love you dearly, sweetheart. And if it hadn't been for Cheyney, you might not be here. She grew up in Cheyney, went to classes with me, and was just a typical Cheyney person. The other thing that was so fascinating for me, a lot of the other things you've heard, but this one was just when I in 1983, Janice and I formed the Westchester Community Performers, and we were in need of a comedy act, and I don't know the precise moment when I knew that I could do Mom's Mabley, but anyway, they said you got a sense of humor. We need some comedy. But anyway, so getting introduced to Mom's Mabley has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. And it is one of the things that I know that I shall continue to do. But getting to do this and adopting that carrying that on as my sabbatical project has been a good experience. Most of you know that my sabbatical project was to establish a memorial for Jackie Mom's Mabley that had about 4 parts. I wanted to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I've made application for that. I don't have the $10,000 yet, but I'm not worried about that. It'll come too. To get a wax figure made for her in the Baltimore Wax Museum, the Black Wax Museum. I've made application for that. To collect my Mom's Mabley memorabilia, to start an archives in the Cheyney Library for that, and I've got quite a bit of materials collected for that. And the last part is to write a human interest biography of Mom's Mabley, the person, rather than the entertainer. And I'm still working on that. Books take time, and when you have to interview people, and most of them are dead, that's difficult. Those that are not dead have some dead cells, and the rest of them just don't remember, even though they're still alive. Because a lot of you receive packets from me asking you for information, and I have yet to receive it. But again, that is working well. Each day someone calls me and say, and I get leads. So I've interviewed her brother, and that was a joy. That was a highlight of mine. He is her last living close relative. He's her younger brother, he turned 92 in November. Mine is sharper than anybody's in here, and he looks 70. He looks 70. And I'm still in contact with him. I need to go back to visit him to collaborate, to make sure that the stories he told me the first time are the same as the ones that he's going to tell this time. And I've met her nephew, all these people in their 80s, so I still have to to interview these people. And you know, when you're dealing with people of that age, you have to come when they are ready to receive you and when they don't have doctor's appointments. So I'm still scheduled to fit in their schedule to go back to see those. But that's one of the reasons why the book is taking so long. And the other reason is that I need more human interest material. But it too will come, and I'm glad about that. Back to the future, what I do plan to do in the future, I know the small things I'm going to do. One of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to do some of those activities that I never learned how to do. I've always wanted to learn how to double dutch. I was a Southern kid and we didn't double dutch in the South, so I'm going to learn how to double dutch. I've had an affinity for years for the saxophone. I think I might have enough wind left to blow that saxophone, so I'm going to take saxophone lessons. I'm going to learn how to swim. I hate to say this, I don't know how to swim. And roller skate. Not the old-fashioned ones, but the straight line. And then I'm going to, as Mom's baby says, take off some of this weight and lift up some of it. I don't know how many of you saw that 78-year-old lady in Philadelphia who started lifting weights when she was in her 70s. I have both pictures, the before, the intermediate, and the most recent one. She was featured again this year in the newspaper. I think it's phenomenal. If she can do it, so can I. And then I'll work on these hands and get my nails looking halfway finished. And maybe I might have some new news. I also intend, of course now, this is all if God's will. I also intend, I have two campaigns that I'm going to continue to carry out. One is, and I'm serious about this, is the only serious subject that I'm going to talk about today. That is, ladies and gentlemen, we must simplify our lives. There are too many people dying, having heart attacks, aneurysm, walking around with stress. Half of the people who should retire are not retiring because they are scared of the future. They feel that they cannot live without a paycheck. So what I'm trying to do is find and help us get rid of affluenza, our possession and our addictiveness to materialism. So I've already started my campaign. So you will be hearing a lot about me talking about simplifying your life. And simplifying your lives does not mean poverty. It means getting the clutter out of your life. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff when I leave, but it's got to go. Clean out your closets, live under your means, not within them. Live within, get rid of the credit cards, get rid of the debt. And start enjoying life. People are important. Things are not. You have never seen a Mack truck U-Haul going to heaven or hell. So all of the stuff that you have, you got to leave it. Nothing is important except people. And of course, you know, who God's important. But people are important. We are here to have relations. We're relationship kind of individuals. And until you establish that and do that, nothing is meaningful. You can go out here and keep searching and working yourself to death, 2 or 3 jobs, thinking that you're happy. But let me tell you, you are not. It will not make you happy. I'm talking from experience now. I'm speaking from experience. It will not make you happy. The simple things will make you happy. Spending time with, that's my for one camp. And the next one is, just almost forgot that. The material is, see ya, y'all need to retire. What was my other one, baby? All right, hold it, y'all. Well, whatever, you see I do need to retire. Okay, got it. The next one is stop taking yourself so serious. See, humor. Do you know that research abounds about the benefits of humor? You're not important. You're not important. Stop. You know, it's sad that you can't say anything to people now. I was going to do Mom's Maybelline, but, you know, you can't even tell. You get arrested for the slightest provocations of people's laws and idiosyncrasies. And that is unfortunate. Take a different perspective of things. Nothing is that important. I just have decided now, there are no problems in my life. Everything, there's some good in everything. And that's how I look at everything. If I encounter anything that previously I thought was a problem or an adversity, I look for the good in it. Because last year, IRS told me that I owed them $21,000. I didn't have 21. I didn't even have 21. I could have had a heart attack or an aneurysm. I could have had a stroke behind that. But I decided, no, use what you preach. Sit down and let's see if you can reason with it, Ira. You can reason with him, because I knew I didn't have it. And while I might have been guilty for some of those infractions that they claim I did not report, I knew that I was not guilty to the tune of that amount of money. So I prayed about it. And do you know that they told me in September, October, they sent me a refund. Of course not, in the midst of a refund. They were talking about 96, so I knew that I had told the same lies in 97 on my tax. So I went ahead and did an amended return. They were lies, but they were lies because of ignorance. But you got to pay. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, and whether it's out of ignorance, it's a lie. It was sinning. I had sinned. I said, God, have mercy on me. And do you know they said I didn't owe them anything except the interest for 96? And then for 97, they sent me back a refund. And I did 98, very cautious. So, I don't have any problems. No problems. You can get through anything. So, in closing, my friends, I really, really wish you all well. And I do want one more thing. You see this nice photograph here? I've learned this since I've been out. I didn't get the permission from the photographer. I didn't know that the committee was going to use this photograph. I've been trying to educate people about copyright infringement. The photographer for this photograph, this is a recent one. It may not look like it is. As Cheyney said, how did you get that light? Well, technology. You can lighten up anything now. Technology. And you can do it cheaply. Kmart. Yeah, they have a machine in there now that will make. And what makes it so good, this was a color photograph. The machine can turn it into black and white, brighten you up, darken you up, take out folk from around you that you don't want surrounding you, all for $6. $6.49. But I'd like for my deacon and the photographer, an excellent photographer, ladies and gentlemen, he has a business in media. He does fantastic framing, real wood, walnut, mahogany, oak. He's retired, so he takes his time. Deacon, would you please stand up? And his business manager, Sister Fisher, these are my deacons. And you have to talk to Sister Francis now. You make your own arrangements with her. But this is his work, and I'm sorry about that. So, and before I go, the nice music has been provided by a group that I saw Christmas at our Christmas ball that we usually give the Westchester Community Performance. Some of you have been invited to that year after year and you haven't showed. See, because you're probably out there working on those 2 or 3 jobs, or you're too tired and too broke. But this year, whether I'm here or not, you need to plan to visit. That's therapeutic. It's very therapeutic. You need to plan to attend the Christmas ball given by the Westchester Community Performance. This is a group. The group is called, here I go again, Kathy Kilpatrick and Harold Watson. Would you please stand? I love you guys, and if your rates are still reasonable, I'm going to see if I can engage your services wherever I go. Thank you so much. Now, everybody, I wish you all much good health. Good health. Now, you got to do those things that I just indicated for your good health now. Stop taking yourself seriously. Get out of debt. Live below your means. And I also wish you happiness. Happiness, not in things, but happiness in relationships, in loving and sharing. Give. Give. That's what makes me happy. Farewell. My soul brother, I'm so sorry. He came the same year that I came. He's going to retire pretty soon.
As soon as I get it right. Ladies and gentlemen, after the benediction, you're invited to tour the exhibits adjacent to us and take in a few more of the pointers. We thank Dr. Perkins for her fantastic advice. If you please stand up for the benediction. After the benediction, we have cake and coffee. Well, you can pick it up and visit the exhibits, please. By way of benediction, I'll just read some of the verses that seem to summarize many of the sentiments that have been expressed here today. These words come from St. Peter's first letter, second chapter, I think verses 9 and 10. You are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's own people, in order that you may proclaim the mighty acts of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Once you were not a people, but now you are God's people. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. May the Lord be with you. Go and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.